At some point in every project, you need to print out a document set. So in this movie, I'd like to talk about working with sheets, both creating new sheets and working with the existing ones that we already have here in the project. And we'll set up those sheets and get them ready to print out our set of documents. So I'm in a file here called Sheets, and I'm just looking at the perspective of the dining room for the moment. But if we scroll down here on the project browser, you will see the Sheets branch on the browser, and there are several sheets already here in this project. Now, if you followed through the course since the beginning, then you recall that we started this project with the commercial default template that comes with the software. And that template included all of these sheets to begin with. Some of these sheets even already have views on them. So you can tell the difference with the ones that have the little plus sign next to them. So this sheet right here, A1 first floor, is empty. But this sheet here, A2 first floor reflected ceiling plan, has the ceiling plan view on it. Now, if you click the little plus sign, you can see which view is actually already on that sheet. So here's the level 1 ceiling plan. This one's got the roof plan on here. This one has 2 elevations, north and south, and this one has east and west. Now, most of the other sheets are empty. There's a few others down here. If you double-click any of these sheets and open them up, like let's try A4, you'll see that it includes a title block here, and then, of course, it's got the 2 views right there and right there. When I open up this sheet, I immediately notice that I've got this red line here shooting off into space. And if I highlight that, I see that the viewport is very wide. Now, the reason for that is if we go back to our first floor plan, level 1 floor plan, we have that site plan that we brought in from the DWG file, the linked DWG file. Now, it may not be necessary to show that site plan in the elevation views. So you have 2 solutions to the problem of that red line that's shooting off into space there. One thing that we can do is we can open up each of the elevations. I'll start with east. And we can just simply hide that DWG file in this view. So the way that you would do that is to use Visibility Graphics. So if I go back to the View tab, click on Visibility Graphics, come over here to the Import Categories, I can just uncheck the site plan. Click OK, and it will hide that site plan. When I do, this is the east elevation. Come back down here to the elevation sheet, open up A5. Notice that this one, the viewport has immediately resized to conform to the new shape. So as soon as you make that change, this viewport adjusts itself. Now, if you want to see that site plan, let's say there's information in there that you wanted to see in this view, the alternative approach is to open up that view. And actually, I can do it right from the indented sheet. So let's go to A4, and you remember this one is way off the screen. You can double-click the north or south elevation directly right here. So this one up at the top is the south elevation. So I'll double-click on it, and you can see that view. And again, instead of hiding this, what you could do instead is come down here and turn on the crop region, and you see how large that becomes because it's large enough to include that entire CAD file. But now I can take the crop region and pull it in, and see how I'm keeping part of that CAD file displaying right there. And then I can hide it again, but now that view is cropped, but I'm still seeing the portion of the CAD file that I care about. And then if I come back here to A4, you can see that it's adjusted to fit the screen. So either one of those techniques is perfectly fine. So you can do either one, whichever one appeals to you. And that's one way that you can start adjusting the views for the sheets. So you do want to go through each of the sheets that are already here and see if there's any of those little fine-tune adjustments you need to make. The next thing you'd want to do is look at sheets that are empty, like this A1. Now, this is supposed to be for the first floor plan, but there's no floor plan on here yet. So all we have to do is scroll up here and locate our first floor plan, our level 1 floor plan, drag it, and you see the little plus sign on my cursor. Let go when you see that plus sign, and we can see that it's a little bit too large, so we've got the same problem again. I'm going to just click to place it to see what the issue is. Now, I probably don't need to see all of this over here. I'm more interested in just this portion of the floor plan. Furthermore, you might argue that you don't really need to see the site plan at all in the first floor plan, that really where you'd want to see that is in the site plan view. So you have the same 2 choices that I just showed you for the elevations. You can either go into this view, hide the DWG file, or you can go into this view and turn on cropping. Whichever one you do is perfectly fine, but those are the two choices. Now, I'm going to right-click here and show you a faster way to get to that view. We can choose this Activate View. That'll gray out the title bar in the background and put me directly in the view. So now I could go to Visibility Graphics and turn it off, or I could go to the crop region and crop it down. That's what I'm going to do here. So I'm going to turn on the crop region, zoom out a little bit, take my crop. I'll show just part of the street. I'll show just part of the parking. Pull that in a little there. Pull it up a little bit right there. Right-click, deactivate the view, and then I can drag this viewport to fit on the sheet. This title bar now is way too long, so I'll just stretch it down like so. And so that deals with that problem. So going back down and looking at the sheets list, as you scroll through here and begin working on each of those sheets that are already here, you may find some that are missing. If you find one that's missing, it's real easy to create a new one. So what you do is you come up here and you right-click on the Sheets branch and you can choose New Sheet. It will offer you two different title blocks here. If you don't see the title block you want, you can always load other ones. I'm going to choose the E size to match the sheets that are already here. I'll click OK. It will suggest the name C2. So Revit just simply looks at the last sheet that was created. C1 was apparently the last sheet that was created, and it numbers the next one in sequence. If you click right on this title block, you can click on those labels and renumber it directly. So I'm going to call this one A14, and then for the name, I'm going to call this Seating Plan. And what I'm going to do here is bring in those callouts that I created, those enlarged dining room plans, drag it and drop it. There's level 1. Drag it and drop it. Here's level 2. Now, looking here, I can see that they're not quite lined up correctly, so I'll just drag this slightly. And you'll see the little dashed line appear when they're lined up across one another. Then I'll select both of them and just pull them down to fit on the sheet. And then finally, I can grab just this little title bar right here and drag it down to line it up with the one next to it. And you could continue the process to create or configure other sheets. Now, let's jump back over to level 1. What I want to show you here is if I zoom in on this little call out right here that's attached to our seating plan, notice that it has filled in the drawing number and the sheet number that corresponds to that sheet that I just placed it on. All of the cross-coordination between the various views and the sheets that they're on will happen automatically in Revit. So as you begin adding all of the sections and the details to the various sheets, all of these callouts are going to fill in themselves. Setting up your sheets is obviously the first step that you want to do before getting ready to print out a set. It's a fairly straightforward process. You can use the standard title blocks, you can load in other ones, and it's just a drag and drop process to bring those various views onto the sheets and get them ready for printing.